This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael, I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Million Dollar Legs, a slapstick comedy from 1932, directed by Edward F. Cline. Set primarily in the fictional country of Klopstokia, it follows the affairs of a salesman named Tweenie and a woman named Angela, who just so happens to be the daughter of the country's president. Klopstokia is facing bankruptcy, and the president's own cabinet are seeking to overthrow him, with the only complication being the president's pure physical strength. In a bid to win Angela's hand in marriage, Tweenie presents the president with an idea. Enter himself into the 1932 Summer Olympics, win the weightlifting competition, and collect a cash prize offered by Tweenie's employer. As it turns out, the country has more than one athlete, all of whom are willing to participate, but the president's rivals are just as willing to sabotage the whole effort. If the film were focused entirely on that storyline, it would probably be around 20 minutes long. That's not saying too much either, because the actual movie is just over an hour long. How does the movie stretch things out then? Well, partially through a romantic storyline that's pretty much shoved into the background the minute it shows up, and mostly through a whole lot of comedic gags, practical stunts, and visual jokes. It's partially filler material that masks the weak plot, but it's also pretty dang fun, sometimes pushing the envelope of what was, and still is, considered acceptable storytelling practice. More often than not, the film goes out of its way to ignore the established story in favor of layering on a comedy bit, as if the filmmakers knew that what they were making was just being made to cash in on the Summer Olympics that year, and figured they may as well see what they could get away with. It works out, for the most part. It's actually whenever the movie tries to weave it into the story again is where things start to falter. Mostly because the story is, again, weak and overly simple in nature, as are the characters and their one-note personalities, if they can even be called personalities at all. It actually wouldn't be much of a stretch at all to think that this movie was made as a vehicle for the slapstick, given how little else there is to go on about here. The rest of the film's technical elements are similarly limited, not only because of how little there is to work with, but the general limitations of early sound film. At the very least, the visual effects work well, and of course they also play right into the comedy antics. Mostly though, the effects are done through sight gags, prop comedy, and some editing tricks. You know, the basics. It all shows a good amount of creative spirit inherent in the film's production, and if you watch it for that alone, you'll probably be sated. Just don't be surprised if you find yourself zoning out at a few points. The filmmakers probably did it while making the movie themselves. Million Dollar Legs, Edward F. Cline, 1932. 2.5 stars. I'd say that it's still worth giving a watch though. It's not unfunny, it's just that it comes in waves. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. As always, subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I know that they edited things in this movie to make people seem like fast runners, but it did remind me that I ought to try jogging around here. I don't know why I haven't kept up a routine.